Good morning, everybody. Jayy here with another Final Fantasy XIV video, and today I'm going to answer like a question I get asked all the time. Should I play Final Fantasy XIV? My answer to that question has been resoundingly yes to everyone who's asked me, but my answers have also been kind of scattered all over the place, right? I haven't been like clear and concise on why right now is the perfect time to play this game. So I did the like boomer thing in me, right? I got out a piece of paper and I wrote down 5 reasons. I said, these are the top 5 things I would tell somebody who is thinking about playing Final Fantasy XIV for the first time, or somebody thinking about coming back to the game, because it's very friendly to either of those situations. So let's go through that list. Let's go 5 to 1. And I got a bonus one that I just thought of too. Yeah, so the bonus, we'll have 6 reasons then. 6, whatever. It's a list of why you should play the game. And let's start with the Final Fantasy element of the game, the story and the storytelling. Now look, if you're into this right now, if you're thinking about playing this game, you've probably played an MMO before. Maybe it's World of Warcraft. Maybe you're old like me and you played EverQuest or, Dark Age of Camelot or one of these crazy old games. And so you know what to expect from an MMO, right? Grouping, quests, raids, dungeons, all of that is in this game, but it adds another aspect. The Final Fantasy element to this game really shines through in the storytelling. The story is actually compelling. You want to continue on the story. You are invested in the characters that you meet. You are not only part of like your friend group or your guild, which is called a free company in this game, but you're also part of an NPC group in the game that is playing their way through this like world in a crisis. And you care about them, actually. Some more than others, and some of them go away and you're not sad about it, and some of it, whatever. You'll meet them all. You can decide for yourself if you like them or not. But the story is really good, and it's even more impressive that this is a good story, considering the first part of this game you will play is called the Realm Reborn. It's called that because the original Final Fantasy XIV was so bad they had to redo it. And it wasn't bad because like the premise was bad or the story was bad. Just like the execution of the game kind of sucked. And so they redid it. They rebranded it a Realm Reborn. So you get to start the game with this epic cutscene that you've seen some like clips of on this video so far. And you're like, oh yeah, that cutscene was so good. That might be, for Final Fantasy games, the opening video to this game, the video I've shown you like parts of on this video, might have like saved this game. I don't know, it's that good. So the story picks up from there. It's like years after what would have been the original game, but whatever, it doesn't matter. You just start playing and you get into this story. You're helping the world, you're fighting gods, you're overthrowing kingdoms, and it all feels sort of okay. Like you are the special snowflake, but you know, you're the warrior of light. You're supposed to be the special snowflake in this game, and you do play through that really well. Now, there are multiple expansions in this game, and the level cap in this game might feel really far away from you the first time you play. And so my second reason that I think you should play this game is the pace of leveling. And you're going to be like, wait a second, didn't you just say it's going to feel like the end game is really far away? Yeah, I did. The first time you level up a class, they call them jobs in this game, whatever. The first time you level up a job in this game, you're going to be playing through the story, and it's going to take you a while. There might be, I wrote down 200 plus hours of story to play through the first time you level something up, but it's enjoyable. You actually like feel like you're playing a regular RPG at some points. Now there are those points where it's like, oh hey, you need to go like over here and get something and bring it back over here, and you're like, oh my god, MMO trope, fetch quest, whatever. You do those, they give you experience, and in fact, the story itself gives enough experience that the first time you level up a class, you can just focus on the story. It will make you do some of the dungeons to progress, but that's fine. That gets you into the grouping. It helps you really learn how your class functions a little bit better. I'm going to keep saying class. I mean job when I say class. You get it. So you will learn how to play with other people. You will also learn how to solo. And the game is very solo player friendly. Now, my third point was, I'm talking about leveling your first job right now. that implies that there's more than one job. And in this game, you can just become another job whenever you want. Now, some of the more advanced ones are locked behind later expansions. Some of them are locked behind, like, oh, you have to be at least level 50 in a Disciples of War class before you can unlock this new one. But once you start leveling up, you will have access to any class that you want to play at any time. You just switch your main hand weapon, boom, your character switches to that class at whatever level you are currently at. Leveling up your second, third, fourth, fifth class is so much faster than leveling your first one because you've already played through the story, so you're just going back and catching those side quests maybe that you missed. Running dungeons, instance dungeons with groups, that will just, your experience will just fly when you're leveling your second class. It's very easy. It's very friendly to having more than one class all the way leveled up. A lot of my friends that play this game have all of them leveled up. And they're crazy, because that's, well, they are dedicated. I didn't just call you crazy, my friends. I called you dedicated. You don't have to re-roll to do new classes. I love that, right? You want to craft? Craft. You want to be a tank today? Be a tank today. Sick of being a tank today? Hey, spam some spells, play a healer, a DPS, whatever you want to do. You can do it whenever you want. Now, on my little notes here, I also wrote down that the old content, right? This would be point 4. You might think to yourself, well, wait a second. A lot of the people playing this game are veterans. Why would they run these low-level dungeons with me? Well, the way this game works, the way grouping in this game works is you go into like a duty finder, right? And you can click like leveling and it just matches your type of class, right? Like you're a tank, it'll match you with a healer and some DPS and put you in a dungeon that one of the players in your group has queued for specifically. This might mean you're a level 65 tank who gets leveled down to like level 30 to run a level 30 dungeon with somebody doing it their first time. That's really beneficial for the person doing it their first time because they have experienced players running the dungeon with them. It'll be a smoother experience. You, the person who's leveling down to do it, get a big boost in experience once a day for doing this like leveling roulette duty finder thing, right? So the game has built-in ways of keeping the old content relevant, or at least the old content active, by encouraging veteran players to get back in it. And because everyone can level up all these classes, none of the old zones are empty. It doesn't, like, even playing a DPS class, which is the hardest class to find groups for, you click queue up in the duty finder, it's like 10 minutes. Right? You're playing a tank, sometimes you click queue up and it's like, oh yeah, hey, this group has been waiting for a tank, thank you, you're in. And so, it just depends on your class, but you're not waiting very long for any of these dungeons. There's also all those side quests that, by the way, you can skip the first time you're playing the story. That is huge. Like, y'all, okay, I'm gonna run something by you. You're the warrior of light, slayer of gods, bringer of peace to the world. And you walk into this village and somebody's like, oh my god, it's you! It's the warrior of light! And you're like, sup? Yeah, you know, I mean, the world's safe now because of me. And they're like, look, I gotta take my kid to school and we're out of fish. Can you go down to the river and get me some fish? And you're like, sure. So you walk down to the river, there's some shiny little spot and you're like, got a fish. And you go to the next spot and you're like, got a fish. And then you do that about 9 times, you go back, you get a little bit of experience. And like, when you're playing through the main story of the game, it would feel really broken to take a bunch of breaks to go like catch fish for some villager, right? Well, the main story gives you enough experience, you don't have to do that the first time. But those side quests do exist for if you want to like level up a second, third, or fourth class later, and while you're waiting for a group, you want to go catch some dude some fish? Well, you go catch a dude some fish. Okay, so there are lots of side quests in this game, but you never have to do them. Literally, I go into zones sometimes and I'm like, nope, you catch your own fish, old man. Okay, so that was my 4th point. The old content stays relevant because the game encourages it. It's a well-built system and I like it. Now, my 5th point is the current story is ending when the next expansion drops, right? at patch 6.0, the newest expansion comes out, and we're still months away from this, by the way. When that comes out, the current story arc that has lasted for years and years through all of these first expansions is coming to an end. So if you start now, you can play through this story and be here for when the main story arc ends and the second main story begins. So it's a really cool time in the game. I think that's one big reason why a lot of people are coming back. They kind of are like, well, I used to play and I really like the story, but like with MMOs, you know, you play hardcore for 3 or 4 months and then maybe you take a little break. That's what I did. And so now I'm back. I want to play this story through to its conclusion and see what the developers have for the next story. Because as far as MMOs go, the story in this one is by far the best of any of them that I've played. So the fact that it's coming to a head now, super exciting. Now, I said I had a bonus point, and I 100% should have just made this one of my big points. But the bonus point is you can play for free right now if you're new. Not only is the base game free to play right now, the first expansion is free to play right now. For $0, you can play through A Realm Reborn and Heavensward, which, by the way, Heavensward has been my favorite expansion in this game. A Realm Reborn, you can tell they kind of are like redoing the game. You're like, oh, I'm getting into it. Then when you hit Heavensward, that first expansion, the game freaking launches into the next level. You can play through all of that for nothing. So you can try the game out for $0. Then if you like it and you want to play some of the classes that are introduced in the next 2 expansions, you can purchase those then and play the game. And you don't have to buy them to play the first 200 hours of the game. What I write down for the first, it's probably about 100 hours of free gameplay. Right? So if you want to play through the story up through the first expansion, 100 hours of gameplay, that is free. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. It probably should have been on my list of the top 5. So we'll call it the top 6 now. Whatever. You get it. Now, guys, that's my reasons for playing the game. If this has convinced you, or if there's any questions you have, please leave those questions in the comment. I am just getting into content creating for this game as I'm getting back into it. So, hey, if you're coming here from my other games, how you doing? If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, like the video if you liked it, boost that algorithm out there, and I will catch you all in the next video. Peace.